Hello. Another Saturday video that my only purpose really is if you're watching this, I hope it's helpful. I don't even think that it's always helpful to everybody, but maybe there are some people that this is encouraging to on here. I'm thinking of a couple of stories today. One that crossed my mind is a story we find in Matthew 25, and it's a strange story about the bridegroom and the 10 maidens that meet him and being ushered into the feast. And it's an allegory, really, and you can read it, but basically the bridegroom is Jesus, and the 10 waiting maidens are the church, and they're supposed to have lamps so that light can show the way, and that some of them do, and some of them don't. And it's a story really about preparation. You need to be prepared for those moments that Jesus really wants to be seen and to join you. And then they were to take Jesus into the great celebration and fellowship. So I'm thinking of preparation today. I'm thinking of another story, Philip Haley's great little book, Lest Innocent Blood Be Shed. If you haven't read that, it's a good read. It's a true story that makes it even better. But it's a story about a little village, a sleepy little village in the French Alps. And nothing much ever happened there until Hitler began his persecution of the Jews. This little Protestant group was led by a very faithful and simple pastor who taught simple truths and rallied the congregation that Jesus would want them to help these Jews. And so it's a story about how these Protestants stood up for something that really put them at risk. One lady in the story is interviewed, and she faked a heart attack when the Nazi soldiers came into her home so that they wouldn't get beyond to the chicken coop where a Jewish family was hiding. And the interviewer says, "Why would you do that?" And she says, "Well, the pastor always teaches us that one day Jesus is going to ask you to do something for him. And when he does, you need to be ready." I think she looks around at the congregation, I think we were ready. I think we understood that Jesus asked us to do this, and we would. And they saved thousands of people during that horrible time. This is a horrible time. The virus is bad enough, but we're reminded once again of racism in our great country. And most of you on here are white, and I'm very thankful that I have black friends on Facebook. So I hope you're watching, and you do me great grace by being my friend from my days with you, mostly at Alabama A&M, but through the years. But this word, I think, is to most of us white Christians that this is a time where Jesus is asking us to do something for him. There's no gray area. There's nowhere we can stand to say, well, God really believes that white people are better than black people, or deserve to be treated differently in our justice system, or are beneath white people. We've been there and done that in our world. And the Christian faith really just does not hold any place for us to stand with that belief. So we have to decide, will we say out loud at this moment in time what we think Jesus might ask us to say? No, we do not see the world in this racist way. Tomorrow there'll be some pastors in church who will, in their own way, say to you as a congregation, we want you to know that we need to pray for racial justice or harmony, or however that pastor chooses to say it. Some will even say out loud, everyone is equal in God's world. Some will remind us red, yellow, black, and white, they are precious in God's sight. Whatever way that's said tomorrow, we have a chance to say, yeah. Not be silent, not go back to life as usual, but to say out loud with one another and to one another, this is wrong. We want to change it. I grew up in a church in Birmingham, and I watched as 2 African-American teenagers were ushered out the doors in 1965 because they were black and they were not welcomed in church with us. I've never forgotten that. And it's because we missed our moment. The church was silent and missed its moment, as were many churches in that day. Here's your moment. In the African American church, when you preach, it's a wonderful thing because people are behind you and speaking that. Pastor will say something like, "Let the church say amen." And neighbors and pew mates and people say out loud where others can hear, "Yeah, amen, let it be. You're right." In your circles this week, wherever you go, whatever you hear, it's your opportunity to say, no matter what, this injustice is wrong. Don't be deflected by saying, "Oh, well, what about the riots? What about the destruction?" Well, yeah, that's wrong. But it does not deflect from the basic thing that keeps happening over and over in our culture. Christians can make a difference by saying, no, it's not right. Jesus would want us to say that. It's our time. I hope you have a good week, and I hope you take this opportunity to speak that truth into the world.